Hey everyone, thank you so much for being here today. Today we're going to talk about augmented reality, virtual reality, and how you can build an app in 15 minutes or less. Thank you so much for joining to this workshop. And if you're here through a hackathon or an event, welcome and thanks for the event organizers for putting this together. We're echoAR, a cloud platform for augmented and virtual reality apps, providing tools and network infrastructure for creators and developers like yourself to build 3D applications. I'm going to start by saying hello. I'm Alon, founder of echoAR, based in New York. Did my master's in computer science, specializing in augmented reality, virtual reality, and computer graphics, and my undergrad in computer science, electrical engineering, specializing in cloud. So a big believer in the AR/VR space and a super nerd myself. Before we start, I want to level set a little bit, kind of define these terms that we're going to throw out a lot: augmented reality, virtual reality, and understand what they mean. So virtual reality, or VR, is when everything around you is digital. You're fully immersed in a 3D environment, and everything you see is a CGI construct, a computer-generated image that is being projected into your eyes through a headset that occludes what you see. You're usually controlling the environment with kind of controllers or your hands, as opposed to augmented reality, or AR, and you still see the real world, but that world is being overlaid with computer-generated imagery, and you're looking at that world through some optical see-through, like a headset or some kind of glasses, or a camera see-through, like a phone or a tablet. A really cool way to understand this is the amazing movie Space Jam, in which you have Michael Jordan being teleported into Looney Town. Everything around him is a cartoon. He's kind of fully immersed in this kind of cartoonish environment, and kind of interacting with bugs and the other Looney Tunes, as opposed to what we have later in the movie, in which we have the Looney Tunes coming to us, interacting with Bill Murray, playing basketball with Jordan in a real court. This is a more kind of concept to understand augmented reality. So this is basically a differentiation. Either we are being teleported into Looney Town, that's VR, or Looney Town is coming to us, that's AR. Now, real-world examples of that is something that you all know, something like Pokemon Go. People are running around interacting with digital monsters are not really there. Or we have Beat Saber in VR, in which people slash kind of cubes based on the rhythm of the music in a fully immersive environment. Now, another way to understand this is an example that kind of is really close to my heart, and the pun is definitely intended. This was my thesis project back at Columbia University. We took CT and MRI scans, converted them to 3D models, build an application, deploy these models onto that application for a physician to see the patient's heart floating above them during surgery. It was an amazing experience and a really, really cool way to give a doctor a 3D reference map to the patient's anatomy in real time. But the problem was that in order to do that, I had to do something I really, really hate, and that's waking up early in the morning. I had to go up to the hospitals around 6 a.m., take those 2D scans, convert them to 3D models, rebuild the application, and deploy it to the classes. And as a developer, that was so frustrating. It took so much time. And I only wanted to do two things, basically. I wanted to manage 3D assets, and I wanted to deliver them to an AR device. And when talking to other developers who are building applications for retail and shopping and digitalization and games, they all said the same thing. There was no easy way to manage and deliver 3D data. But if you think about it, this problem was kind of solved for a 2D, right? If you want to build a website, you can use something like Heroku as your cloud platform. If you want to build a mobile app, you can use Sparse or Firebase as your backend as a service. So we went from web to mobile to now this new technology, which is AR, VR, MR, 3D, AR, VR, call it whatever. And the question has to be asked, who's going to build that cloud platform for this specific type of content? And you've guessed it, that's echoAR. We are that cloud platform for augmented and virtual reality apps, providing tools and network infrastructure for companies and developers to build applications at scale. Super excited to be at this event. Please, if you have any questions, feel free to write them in the chat and we'll try to moderate. Now, let's dive into these concepts a little bit. So the same way you don't need to be a web developer to update a blog post, you can just drag up an image or video, suddenly they appear in web and mobile. And if I'm in New York and you're in California and both watching an episode on Netflix, we automatically get the best streaming experience. So we translate these concepts into augmented virtual reality, basically providing you with a way to manage, deliver 3D data and get the best 3D streaming experience. And what's interesting here is this kind of bi-directional connection between content and target. You can't move an image or a video of on a website, right? But you can definitely move a 3D couch across the room, and that needs to be updated on the cloud. So this is basically what we've built, this kind of 3D first content management system delivery network that allows you to build applications at scale. And now we're going to see a demo on how to do that. Make sure you register to our service for free on our website, or if you're here through an affiliated club or an event or a hackathon, make sure to use the affiliated link that we shared with the organizers to get a few perks for free. So definitely check out that perk. But you can go to our website, you just register, you automatically get a project key. Now, once you do that, you're able to basically access our console. So what you're seeing on the screen right now is our console on the left, my phone on the right. After I registered, I got my API key right here. And now we can start kind of building applications together. So let's see how that works. So I'm going to start by clicking on the Add to Cloud button. And now I can add images, videos, 3D models. I can also use some of the sample 3D models that I have right here that echoAR kind of provides, or we can also use the search engine to search for new 3D models online that you can use for free. But let's start with something simple. I'm going to update this, upload this Empire State Building. As I mentioned, we're a company based in New York. We're taking that 3D models that is really used for 3D printing, converting and compressing it, so we'll work on Android and iOS and Magic Leap and all these different kind of platforms. We can see it right here. We can see that this was the original file, how our system can automatically converted it. And now we can do something like see it in augmented reality. So what we can do is in the beginning, you can download any of our kind of sample apps right here. We have sample apps to Android and iOS right available in the console in the downloads menu. I'm going to open my phone. I'm going to open this sample app for Android. I'm going to plug in my API key. So it's the same key we just kind of saw that I get after registering. Data will stream from the cloud to the app itself. Camera will instantiate. You're seeing my apartment right now. And voila, camera recognizes the phone. There's a floor here. I tap it and voila, you're able to see that Empire State here with you. So cool. I can walk around and walk inside. What happens if I want to change to something else? So instead of rebuilding an application and doing anything technical, I'm going to go back to the console. I'm going to delete the previous entry. I'm going to upload something else, and it will automatically update. So let's see that together. So I'm going to upload a different 3D model. Same process occurs. We're taking it, converting it, compressing it, so it will work on any device out there. Once that's done, I'm plugging in my API key. Data again streams from the cloud to the device. This application is just a camera. There's nothing there. That camera will recognize the floor, and voila, suddenly inside the Empire State, I have this cool apartment building. How cool is that? So this was a really quick example of mobile AR. But another thing that we do is, I mentioned, we kind of support any platform out there. So one thing that is really cool is that I can actually stream this 3D model to your phones right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use WebAR, basically web-based AR. I'm going to click this button right here. It will expose a QR code that I can scan with my phone. I'm going to scan it. And if you're watching this live, you can literally do the same. So just going to put your phone in front of the QR code. If you're watching this workshop live, scan it. It redirects you to a website. You don't have to do anything technical or install anything. It basically will allow you to see it through your browser. Now, this is really useful. For example, I'm going to click CNAR. We had a client, an art agency that wanted people to randomly walk into an art gallery and see augmented reality around them, but they didn't want people to install anything. So it makes total sense for them to use something like WebAR, in which they can just literally place 3D models through the web. So definitely kind of check it out, play around with it. It's really, really cool. But again, kind of overlays the same data that we have on our floor through no installation. Perfect. So we saw mobile, we saw web. It's really, really cool. You can also share these 3D models automatically by clicking the share button. It basically redirects to the same place that the QR code redirects. So you can literally share this link with anyone in the world, and they'll be able to see your model in 3D. We have a question here in the chat from Matt. Let's see it. Can you animate the 3D models within the AR? Yes, 100%, and I'll show how literally in the next demo. Great question. So let's see that. So now we saw mobile, we saw web. Another platform that we support is Unity, which is a game engine that a lot of developers love to use. And later we're going to do a really cool coding workshop with Unity. But I'm opening Unity. Camera instantiates, no surprises there. We kind of see the floor. Let's do that. And bam, okay, we're seeing the same 3D model we saw earlier. Now let's do exactly what Matt asked. Can we animate it? So yes, so let's click this button right here. It will expose the data panel. And let's add some real-time metadata to it. So for example, I can do something like direction equals right. Bam, suddenly it starts rotating in real time. How cool is that? We can say, let's say it's too small. I want to make it bigger. I can do scale equals 2. Bam, suddenly it's 2 times the size. I can use these metadata to basically include anything I want. It's literally free text. You can do whatever you want. You can add any value and any key, and basically use that to animate, control features remotely, disable or enable kind of flows in your code. Everything goes. So great question, Matt. We have another question from Armit. Oh, perfect. Okay, so kind of be on the lookout for that link as well that I mentioned, the affiliated link. Okay, so we saw mobile, we saw web, we saw Unity. Now, everything we saw so far were basically kind of a similar technology. The camera recognizes the floor and overlays data on top of that. That's what we call surface detection. Another technology that we support is image recognition. Basically, the camera recognizes an image and overlays content on top of that. So let's see how that works. So I'm going to click this button right here. And instead of doing see on the floor, I'm going to do see on an image. So what I'm going to do right here, I'm going to scan this QR code. It will redirect me to a website. Again, no installation needed. If you want and you're watching this live, you can scan this QR code as well. Redirects to our website. But now let's put the phone in front of the QR code. Like, let's not kind of leave the phone and put it on the floor. And now you can see that the kind of camera pops out, the kind of 3D model kind of pops out of the screen and allows me to basically see that 3D model on top of the QR code as opposed to on the floor. This image, instead of the QR code, could be anything you want. It could be a magazine, it could be a business card, then you overlaid with videos of yourself talking about you. Super, super cool stuff. So let's maybe see that. So I'm going to upload a video right now. I'm going to use a file. And I'm going to throw in an image target. So let's try that. So I'm going to throw in just a random image that I have on my computer. Same process occurs, but now we're converting and compressing the videos and images as opposed to the 3D. We have another question. How do we make the QR code? So the minute you upload any content to echoAR, automatically you have this button right here that allows you to kind of access the QR code. You can also access the API calls. I'm going to show how later, but basically it's available right here the minute the kind of 3D model is available. Another thing that you can upload is assets and put them in specific locations. For example, if I put this 3D model, let's say in New York, I can build an app that when people open it in New York, they're going to see the Empire State Building, but when you open it in San Francisco, you're going to see the Golden Gate Bridge, for example. So kind of different 3D models for different locations, something if you want to build like a Pokemon Go style experience. Let me show you the kind of image recognition with a video. So I'm going to scan this QR code. Again, redirect to a website. You don't have to install anything. I'll leave it right here. But now what we have here is instead of the camera recognizing the QR code, now recognizes the original image and overlays the data on top of that. So I'm going to open the original image, and voila, suddenly you see the video on top of that image. I can tap it and we'll start playing in augmented reality. Super, super cool. I can scale it with my fingers, move it around a little bit. Really, really cool stuff. And again, no installation needed. Perfect. So we saw mobile, we saw web, we saw Unity, and we saw how you can do that with image targets and how you can do basically kind of how you can do it with the image target and surface detection. Now what we're going to do is we're going to explore the console a little bit, and then we're going to transition into a coding demo. So let's see what we have here. So you already know the downloads menu basically allows you to download the sample apps and a few of our SDKs. We have a theme changer that you can kind of swap themes. I love the dark one, but like you can do whatever. In our help menu, it's a really valuable resource for you to look and use. It has a link to our documentation, which is, I'm going to share it right here in the chat as well. Basically, a step-by-step guide of everything I just did allows you to how you get an API key, how you access the console, how you add content, everything with like really cool animated GIFs to kind of guide you through everything and answer a few of your questions. Read through the documentation. Another resource that we have for you is our GitHub page. It is filled with amazing resources and amazing open source kind of projects that you can use. If you're here through a hackathon, this will help you build your application faster because we already have open source examples for you to kind of play around with. And I'm going to share a few of them. So let's see, for example, this one and this one. And let's do this one. And let's do, what else do we have? Let's do face change. And let's do, really, there's so many really cool things here that kind of allow you to build applications for AR, VR on so many kind of different use cases. Let me see. Perfect. So let's open these up and let's kind of review them together for a sec. So we have an example here of a portal they can build, basically a portal to another world that you can build with Unity and echoAR. Really, really cool stuff that you can kind of go in into a different world. Another example is this board game that you can build in augmented reality. You can kind of play with your friends. Another example that we have here is a makeup tutorial that you can kind of basically overlay your face with makeup. Here's another example. You can literally swap your entire face with face detection. Really, really cool stuff. Here's a really cool data visualizer. You can throw in videos, images, 3D models, and basically have results going to show up in real time. Here's an example of a living room inside a living room that you can build with videos and 3D models. Here's a COVID example that later we're going to recreate together, a COVID visualizer that you can build in 3D. Here's another example, a freaky kind of museum that basically brings images to life, and then suddenly the pictures get animated. So definitely go through these, check out these examples, they're really cool. Another link that we have here is our link to join our Slack channel. If you have any questions, any support that you need, please kind of ask questions there. Our team will be on site to kind of answer any questions, and I'll also be there to kind of moderate and try to help out. You can also just email us or send us a tweet. And now let's continue in exploring the console. We have a question here about Figma. You can do integration with Figma, I guess, kind of with redirection and kind of links, but Figma is more about prototyping and not like kind of building a fully fledged app. Okay, so we saw the content page. Let's see the data page. This is the page that you already know how to kind of add data associated with each 3D model, but you can also add data that is kind of associated with anything, basically with your entire application. For example, we work with a company who did a scavenger hunt game, kind of murder mystery stuff, and they had 3D models associated with different scenes, but they also had just data across the entire application, like user usage and stuff like that. Subscription page allows you to see how much bandwidth storage you're using, how much resources you're consuming, and what plan you're using. Here we also have the locations page. Basically allows you to see the distribution of content. You're able to see, oh, I have this kind of 3D model right here in New York. I see what servers are kind of backing my application. If I'm working as a team, which most hackathons usually do, we have kind of a way for you to add users to your project so people kind of work together and collaborate. And the insights page is a really powerful page, shows you how your content is doing. So what is the most popular 3D model? How people are kind of using the application. Really, really cool stuff. Here we have more kind of data on how people are using applications. I'm going to check that out. Here you see the distribution of users. It's really, really cool. Once your app kind of gets traction, you're able to see where your users are coming from. Another cool page is the tutorial page. Like we saw earlier, we have a really, really cool demos in that you can kind of use, and really a lot of kind of frequently asked questions that you should review. Definitely review the documentation page. Shows you again like all these really cool use cases that you can build right now with like wall art or a selfie sticker and like really, really cool stuff. Definitely check that out. And the inspiration page is my favorite page, has so many examples of things that people build with augmented reality, virtual reality, and specifically with echoAR, like the murder mystery game that I mentioned, or the art agency that used the echoAR, or a project that we did for Verizon 5G. Really, really, really cool stuff around surface detection and camera recognition and image recognition and COVID, and basically really, really cool stuff that people built using our tech. And if you build something, let us know and we'll feature you in our page as well to basically kind of get you visibility. Here's a really cool mask visualizer that someone built. Really, really amazing and inspiring stuff. Go through it to see what is possible with augmented reality. Perfect. So we saw all these different kind of use cases and all these different ways to build applications. Now let's dive into a coding demo and see how you can build an application with Unity, which is a game engine. So this is Unity, a game engine for 3D applications. And we're going to use that with our echoAR SDK to basically build real-time application. So we have the SDK right here, as we saw. We can just click it and download it. And then after you download Unity, it's totally free. You're basically able to integrate our SDK into it. You can just double click the SDK and it will automatically add it to your open project. Or you can go kind of file in kind of basically, assets, and then import new asset and import that SDK. Once that, you basically get the echoAR folder. We have an empty scene right here. You just open the sample scene that we have under examples. It's again, empty scene. There's nothing here except for the echoAR game object. I'm going to plug in my API key right here like we have. Okay, so we can see that same API key that we have in the console. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to press play. Data will stream from the cloud to the game engine, as opposed to what we saw earlier, streaming to the phone. And voila, we're able to see the video playing, the building rotating, the fox is somewhere inside. Let me delete the video because it's playing in my ear. I'm deleting it from the console. Automatically, it's being deleted from the environment. You can see those kind of real-time changes. Let's move the fox a little bit because it's kind of being occluded by the building. Bam, suddenly we moved it 10 feet away. Let's see that. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of stop this from playing. suddenly everything disappears. Remember, everything is coming from the cloud, so nothing actually persists on memory. This means that when you're going to build your application, it's going to be super, super small because none of the assets are actually preloaded in your build. But if I replay this, again, data is kind of reinstantiating from the cloud to the game engine, and voila, we're able to see the same data kind of coming around and in the same state. So it kind of remembers that the fox needs to be 10 feet away. This is a stateful CMS, basically a stateful condominium system that remembers the state of the scene. The building keeps rotating and stuff like that. And now let's do some customization. Let's delete this building. Let's put the fox back in the middle. Matt, so for your question, if you're here from a hackathon, contact your event organizers, the hackathon organizers, to get that affiliated link. They should have it. Perfect. So let's look at this fox right here. This is Arctic Fox, and now we want to add some features to it. So the cool thing about echoAR is that every 3D model has a custom behavior script attached to it. It is a script in C# format and C# in Unity format that basically allows you to add anything you want and code in any feature that you want. So let's review this script together. And if you know C# perfect, if not, and you know any other object-oriented language, you're good. But it's super, super straightforward. So this script has two main functions. One is the start function, evident by its name, happens when you start the application. And another function is the update function. This function is being called out every single frame. You remember, you're coding in 3D now. This means there's a video render, there's like a scene being rendered, and you can basically put in code that will run every single frame. Remember your CS fundamentals here. If this function's complexity is too high, or it crashes, or it kind of hangs, your entire application will crash or hang because, again, it runs every single frame. But let's start with something simple. Let's look at the start function. So we're adding some script to the model, and now we have this kind of snippet of code that says, do I have any additional data? If so, do I have an additional data called name? If that's the case, call the object with that name. Super simple. Let's see how that works in practice. So if I have the fox right here and I'm adding a name to it, again, you can add any key or value that you want. And I'm going to add name equals Kevin, because that's a great name for a fox. And I press play, data will stream from the cloud to the game engine, but now we see that the fox is named Kevin. How cool is that? And all you had to do is like click a few clicks. But what happens if I want to change this? So if I want to make this instead of Sam into Kevin, nothing changes. Why? Because that snippet of code happens only in the start function. So only when I restart the app, that effect will kind of take place. So there you go. So now we have Sam the Fox. So how do we make this happen every single frame and happen every time? You guessed it. We're going to move this snippet of code from the start function to the update function. This means that every single frame we're going to ask, do I have any additional data? If I do I have a name? And if so, let's set the name of the fox to that. So now let's restart the application for the code to compile. Again, data will stream from the cloud to the game engine. We're seeing Sam the Fox right here. But now when I go back and change something in the app, in the console, there you go. Bam, suddenly it's automatically Kevin. Super, super simple, super cool. This is a really simple demo to kind of show you that you can stream any data that you want. You can change things remotely. You can use these metadata to control animations, if flows, if statements. It's a really, really cool way for you to kind of remotely enable, disable features. And kind of, you should definitely kind of look into that. Now we're going to transition into a more complicated example that basically allows you to build a more robust app. So I'm going to recreate the basically code visualizer that I showed you earlier. So let's see that. So I'm going to start with uploading some content from my computer. Let's upload a 3D file right here. So this is a 3D model of Earth. And I'm going to add a CSV, an Excel file along with it that basically has all these kind of metadata in key value pairs. So instead of me kind of manually plugging them in, I'm able to kind of just upload a CSV file to echoAR and it will automatically parse these data entries. So let's do that. Again, same process occurs. We already know what it does. And now I'm going to swap the custom behavior script under the hood a little bit. Let's see that. I'm going to just override it, and then we can review the script together. So let's see it. So now the script is a little more interesting. We have this array of continents. We have this dictionary. We have this data structure. We have the start function that look exactly the same. But now the update function is much more complex. We have here, in the beginning, we're asking, do you have any additional data? If so, do I have an additional data called scale? If that's the case, let's parse it into an integer. Then let's iterate over all continents. Do I have a data on a specific continent? If that's the case, let's parse that data into the number of COVID cases in that continent. Then we'll ask, do I have a graph? If so, change the size of that graph to the size of to reflect the number of COVID cases. If I don't have a graph, let's create a graph. Let's create a cylinder, give it a color, give it a name, give it a location, add some text to it. And if we don't have data, just delete that graph. Perfect. Let's see how that works in practice. So we see the Earth right here. It's already in the console. We see that in the back panel, we see all the data is already kind of parsed in. Super, super easy. And now, when we press play, data again will stream from the cloud to the game engine. And voila, check this out. We have the Earth spinning. We have all these cool data points about COVID in all these different continents. And now if we want to do changes in real time, let's do it. Let's go here, change the number of cases in Antarctica from 1 to 8. Bam, suddenly it changes in real time. Or let's delete Antarctica completely. Bam, it automatically disappears. These are obviously really cool, simple examples, but you can take this open source example again from our GitHub page and expand on it. You can connect it through our API to the World Health Organization, and then instead of having kind of manually changed kind of data points, you can actually take the real-time data from a third-party source and inject it into your application. Check out our documentation about our API. Everything you saw so far could be made through an API query that is available on our documentation right here. So just go to queries and you're good to go. Perfect. So let's recap a little bit. So what do we see so far? So we saw how you can build applications for mobile, web, Unity. If you're a developer, you can choose any platform out there and build whatever you want. If you're a content creator and you're not such a good coder, no worries. Everything we did in the beginning was no code at all. We just dragged off 3D models, saw them in augmented reality, scanning QR codes and stuff like that. We build, store, and deliver that content to any device out there in the world. We talked about how you as a developer save time and money on building your application, how content creators need to have technical skills, and how companies can send data all over the world with our platform. We talked about use cases. We saw surgery and shopping and data visualization and games and home design. We saw the inspiration page that is filled with amazing examples of AR, VR that people have built, and you, again, can be featured there. I'm super excited to see where you're going to build. Let us know so we can feature you and kind of engage the community with your AR, VR creation. A little bit more about us, the company. We won a bunch of awards. We're backed with some of the most amazing investors in the country. And we are there for every major kind of tech event. So if once things go back to normal and you're going to some event, make sure to say hello to our team. We love to say that we inspire people to build applications across all platforms. So start building. This is definitely the time to build 3D applications and specifically AR, VR ones. Use our technology to really kind of stretch your imagination. You're only limited by your imagination when it comes to what you can build in 3D. Make sure you register for an API key on our website, engage us through Slack, and join our community. Thank you so much for being here. Really, really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for the event organizers for inviting me to speak. Start building. Again, this is the time to build, and I'm really, really excited to see what you're going to do. Thank you so much. Have an amazing, amazing time. Stay safe, healthy, and sane during these troubling times. And again, build AR, VR applications with echoAR. Thank you so much, and have a good one, everyone. Bye-bye.